What is one quality you want to see in the Titans the next offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans? Mike Vrabel was asked that at Rand Carthon's introductory press conference. Here's how he answered it.
What are the things that you're looking for, the qualities you're looking for in your next offensive coordinator?
Well, I mean, again, if you hear me talk, it's about guys that can lead and make a connection with their coaching staff, with the players, that have some level of multiplicity, that can, figure out ways to run the football, whether you run and you use the quarterback, or whether it's an outside zone, whether it's gap scheme. Like, I got it. I've sat in a lot of different meetings. I got all the different schemes. I want to make sure that, we find a few that we like. Would hope that we can teach the players and that they can understand and they can have the confidence to go and do their job. Somebody that, we got to score some points. We've been efficient. One thing we have been in around here is efficient in the red zone. That hasn't changed no matter who was running the offense. But we just have to get down there more often. You've heard me say that. So if we can continue to be efficient and looking at how we have created those game plans and what we've done to prepare in that regard, if finding a way to translate that to our first and second down, and still staying efficient in the red zone and scoring points and protecting the quarterback.
There you go. Yep. Couple things of note, Zach. Number one, why are we looking for an offensive coordinator that can run the ball? I mean, we'll get into it, but that's what the Titans have done well over the past however many years of this Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry era. They might need to try something different than looking for somebody who can run the ball. But the question, as you mentioned, what is one quality you want to see in the Titans' next offensive coordinator? I'll go to the chat real quick. Make sure I can run down some of these. Jared says balance. Timothy says creativity. Sky says dynamicism. Oh, that's a big word. Willie K says creativity. Demario says balance and creativity. CJ, efficiency. Steven says big brain. This Steven says less stubbornness. A feel for the game from Jordan. Innovation from Donald. I like that word from Donald right there. Jay says creativity. We got creative from Tighten Up as well. Adaptability from Brian. Scoring from Denise. She's taking the Mike Vrabel approach. I just want to see some points go on the board.
It's a good answer.
We got more passes from Clint. Innovative from Stefan. Pass success, I'm assuming, or past success is what Mr. Jones wants to see. Someone with a bit of a resume. Competency from Chris Baldwin. Consistency from Amber. Zach, what is the one thing for you? I guess we should have clarified, but either as the Titans offensive coordinator or on the resume of the Titans offensive coordinator candidate that they hire, that you want to see from whoever the Titans end up choosing?
Getting the playmakers involved. That's one thing Todd Downing failed at miserably. I want to see this offensive coordinator get the Titans playmakers involved. Whoever the playmakers are. If it's Treylon Burks, it's Treylon Burks. If it's Chig, it's Chig. If it's Robert Woods and he's still around, Bobby Please, then it's Bobby Please. But getting the playmakers involved, it was malpractice, the lack of targets that Chig Okonkwo got after finding out what Chig Okonkwo can do. Baffling.
Over 14 yards per catch, right?
Baffling.
14 yards per catch, had big playability, and yet that's what we heard basically every week. We'd ask Todd Downing in the press conferences, well, what are you gonna try to get Chig more involved, Treylon more involved? He said, yep, would love to get those guys involved, big plays. And we didn't see it. We never really saw it. We might see it on the first play or second play of the game and some early efforts there, but they would disappear and the targets would disappear. And you saw late in the game, I guess some of that might have been what the offense looked like with Malik Willis as the quarterback for a few weeks. But you saw with Josh Dobbs in Jacksonville what Austin Hooper and what Chig can be when you have a guy going through his progressions, and those are the playmakers that he's targeting. I agree with you a lot. Absolutely.
You got to find the play, and that's what. Let's take a look at the 4 teams left. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the San Francisco 49ers. Those teams get their playmakers involved so well.
Zach, my one quality I want to see in the Titans' next offensive coordinator, I have 2 words for it: acquiescence and flexibility. Those are my 2 things. I mentioned Matt Nagy and why I think a lot of Bears fans grew tired of Matt Nagy, why the Bears grew tired of Matt Nagy was his stubbornness to his scheme, like regardless of what personnel was saying around him. I felt that same way about Todd Downing this past year. I felt that same way about Mike Vrabel at times, and this Titans run first mentality that we keep talking about, where it's, well, we're going to give the ball to Derek 35 times. And I'm looking up saying, well, Derek has nowhere to run behind this offensive line. So maybe we need to figure out another strategy to get the ball to Treylon, to Woods, to Chig. Or maybe we need to use a different running back or use it, whatever it is, to switch things up. And the Titans failed to do that this year. So whoever the next offensive coordinator is, I want somebody coming in that is not stubborn and tied to one particular way of doing things. I think you can succeed in many areas and by doing many different things in the National Football League. And on top of that, I don't think you can succeed by having just one pure, simple identity. You have to be good and balanced. And if you don't prioritize adding another dynamic to your offensive game plan, I don't think anything's going to change. So that would be my biggest criteria that I look for if I'm assessing offensive coordinator candidates.
Something that Nagy brings, and look, I kind of agree with Brian says Nagy would be a great fit, Sam. I'll tell you why I do think that could be the case, maybe for a different reason. But then I also think Devin is right. I don't think that Matt Nagy is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Here's the reason why that a Nagy type of guy would be good for the Titans that they have to think about. Sam, they have a defensive-minded head coach. They're going to have to get an offensive coordinator that's going to be here for a couple of years, not just 1 year and gone. You don't want to be back in the same spot. I do think a benefit of Nagy being fired as a head coach probably gives some pause to teams right out of the gate just to hire him after a year of success, right? So there's some stability. Today we see the hot young new hires. That's what you're looking for. Matt Nagy is no longer a young, hot, new hire as a head coach. So you need somebody that is not going to get plucked. You got to take that into consideration. Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon have got to think about that. They've got to help Mike Vrabel for the next couple of years and go after it, if that is in fact what they're going to do. Because if they sit there and acquiesce to a rebuild, then you're probably going to get and you eventually get better. That person that got you better is going to get another job.